Welcome to Turkish Series TV. Today we bring you the 10 most beloved Turkish series of all time, all fully available with English subtitles and ready to watch right now. This selection includes romantic comedies that make you genuinely laugh, crime thrillers that won't let you sleep, revenge stories that keep you on edge, and a series that won the International Emmy and conquered 70 countries. We go from number 10 to number 1, and the first on the list is the one nobody who has watched it has ever been able to forget. But before we start the video, it would help me greatly if you took a moment to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your kind support. Number 10. Insider. I thought I'd already seen everything in Turkish drama, and then Insider appeared. This Yapım production for Show TV arrived in 2016 and became the most watched Turkish series on YouTube in history, up to that point a record that says more than any critical review. Sarp is a young police officer who receives the most dangerous mission of his career, infiltrating the organization of the feared mob boss Salal Duman. To do it, he has to become someone else, earn the trust of criminals who would kill without blinking, and at the same time keep alive a double life that consumes him from the inside. What nobody anticipated is that inside that organization is Mert, the lost brother he believed dead, now on the wrong side of the law. Insider is a loose adaptation of Martin Scorsese's The Departed, and it has the audacity to take that premise and turn it into something completely Turkish, more emotional, more family-driven, longer, and in some moments more brutal. The weak point is that 39 episodes of over 2 hours each is a massive investment, and some middle stretches feel padded. The series asks for patience. But Insider is Turkish crime drama in its most addictive form. Once you're in, there's no way out. Number 9. Room 309. The chemistry between the leads is so natural that you forget you're watching actors. Room 309 is one of the great romantic comedies Turkish drama has produced, and its premise is as absurd as it is perfect. Two strangers end up in the same hotel bed after a night of misunderstandings, and from there, everything gets complicated in ways nobody anticipated. Owner comes from a powerful family and has 1 week to get married and have a child if he wants to inherit the family business. Lael has her own complicated life and her own plans that don't include that chaos. What begins as the worst possible misunderstanding turns into a relationship neither knows exactly how to handle, especially when the entire city seems to have an opinion about what should happen between them. Room 309 works because it doesn't take emotional shortcuts. The comedy never sacrifices character depth, and when the story gets serious, it has earned it. The chemistry between Furkan Palala and Demet Özdemir is the kind that can't be manufactured in any casting session. The weak point is that 65 episodes is a generous length for a story that could have been told in half the runtime. There are stretches where the pacing noticeably lags. But Room 309 is the kind of series where you start with 1 episode and end up watching 3, an unmissable classic of contemporary Turkish drama. Number 8. Everywhere I Go. If you ask me what to watch this weekend and want something that will give you genuine laughs, this is my answer without hesitation. Everywhere I Go won the Golden Lens Award for Best Romantic Comedy of 2019, and watching it, it's easy to understand why. It's the best constructed Turkish romantic comedy of its generation. Demir is a successful architect who returns from Japan and buys both the small bankrupt company he'll work at and the house he grew up in. The problem is that Selin, an employee of that company, bought the exact same house at the same time. Each of them acquired 50% of the property from different sellers within a family at war. That's how a forced cohabitation begins the origin of everything that follows, including a romance neither of them admits to building. What makes Everywhere I Go special is the intelligence of its script. The comedic situations are genuinely original, the supporting characters have lives of their own, and the relationship between Demir and Celine is built with a deliberate slowness that makes every advance a real reward for the viewer. The weak point is that the final resolution feels a bit rushed. The series builds tension better than it resolves it in the last episodes. But Everywhere I Go is Turkish romantic comedy at its finest, an absolute gem. Number 7. Blackboard. Look, I started this one with 0 expectations and ended up watching it in 1 sitting. Blackboard is one of those productions that hides behind a premise that sounds conventional and conceals something far darker and more honest than you anticipate when you read the summary. Atlas was the victim of severe bullying during high school, and that experience marked him forever. Years later, he returns to his hometown as a mathematics teacher assigned to the same school where he was mistreated. It's not a coincidence. Atlas has unfinished business with people who still live there. And then Ermac appears, the girl who stole his heart back then, whose story with him is far more complicated than it first seems. What distinguishes Blackboard from other reunion dramas is that it doesn't soften the impact of bullying. The series shows the scars it leaves on an adult with an honesty rarely seen in Turkish television, and builds a love story that emerges from those scars in a completely genuine way. The weak point is that 14 episodes sometimes feel insufficient for the emotional depth the story deserves. Some arcs don't receive the development they call for. But Blackboard is one of the most surprising and underrated series in recent Turkish drama. Don't let this one slip by. Number 6. Full Moon. This one has its problems, I won't lie, but there are scenes in Full Moon I still remember, as if I watched them yesterday. This 2017 production has some of the best filmed romantic sequences in contemporary Turkish drama, and the reason has a name. The chemistry between its leads is completely natural, and the direction knows exactly when to use it. Nazlı studies gastronomy and works as a private chef to pay her bills. Ferit is a successful businessman, organized to the extreme and completely closed to the idea of trusting anyone. When Nazlı starts working at his home, neither of them imagines that this relationship will completely redefine their lives, starting with the cold Ferit and the orphaned nephew he cares for. What makes Full Moon work is Ferit's transformation. His change is neither magical nor abrupt. It's built episode by episode through the moments with Nazlı and with the boy. That gives real emotional weight to a story that in other hands would have been superficial. The weak point is that the middle portion of the season has stretches where the external obstacles drag on longer than necessary. There are antagonists who oversaturate the plot without adding anything. But Full Moon is one of the most beloved romantic series in Turkish drama for very concrete reasons, worth every one of its 26 episodes. Number 5. My Left Side. This is one of those where you start watching and can't stop, even though it's already 2 in the morning. My Left Side has 12 episodes that feel perfect. Not one too many, not one too few. In a landscape where Turkish drama usually stretches to 60 or 70 chapters, this 2020 production proves there's another way to tell a big story. Sarah and her mother fall from grace and have to reinvent themselves in a new neighborhood. Selim, the most popular and seemingly unreachable young man in that world, and Sarah, who comes from another reality, cross paths through that coincidence that only exists in fiction and in real life. What makes this story different from the rest is how it shows the impact of class difference, without romanticizing it, without resolving it easily, and without pretending love automatically fixes everything. What distinguishes My Left Side is the emotional maturity of its script. There are secrets between parents and children, wounds from the past that resurface, and a persistent question: can one build something real on a lie, even if that lie started for good reasons? The weak point is the open ending of the first season, which left millions of fans waiting for a second season that never came. That stings. But My Left Side is one of the best short romantic productions in Turkish drama, one of the greats. Number 4. Winter Sun. There is a scene in Winter Sun that won't let you close the app. This 2016 production has everything you could ask from a Turkish romantic thriller: stolen identities, separated brothers, an impossible love, and a villain you genuinely despise. And it executes all of it with a precision few series in the genre have matched. Efe is a humble fisherman who was separated from his family as a child after 2 criminal partners murdered his father. As an adult, he discovers he has a twin brother who unknowingly took his place in the family, and that brother has died. When he's mistaken for him, Efe has to adopt his identity to infiltrate the environment that destroyed his family. Inside that world, he finds Nisan, the woman his brother loved, who is now trapped in the same lie. What makes Winter Sun great is its construction of tension. The series knows exactly when to reveal and when to conceal, and that pacing makes each episode end with the urgency to watch the next one. The weak point is that the second season has a more uneven rhythm than the first, and some twists feel more conventional than expected. But Winter Sun is a cult romantic thriller with a happy ending, one of the most beloved in Turkish drama. Number 3. Trap. I won't tell you how it ends, but I will tell you that the ending of Trap left me thinking for days. This 2022 production has one of the most intelligent scripts in Turkish drama of the last decade, and what makes it memorable isn't just the thriller. It's the way love and revenge intertwine until you can no longer tell where one ends and the other begins. Umut, Mahir, and Umay are 3 siblings whose father was ruined and destroyed by a powerful family. Umut decides to infiltrate that family under a false identity to take the revenge his father deserves. What he doesn't calculate is that Güneş, that family's daughter, is going to be the factor no revenge plan can foresee, someone you end up genuinely believing in. What distinguishes Trap from other Turkish revenge dramas is the moral ambiguity of all its characters. There are no clearly defined good guys and bad guys. There are people trapped in situations that started long before they could choose. And that complexity makes each episode another layer of something that feels genuinely significant. The weak point is some family subplots of the antagonist that take too long to connect with the central arc. There are episodes where your patience is tested, but Trap is Turkish romantic thriller in its most addictive form. That cannot be faked. Number 2. Golden Boy. This series has it all. A family mansion on the Bosphorus, a forced marriage nobody wanted, and 2 people who take exactly the right amount of time to admit what they've known since the first episode. Golden Boy was the Turkish phenomenon of 2022 and 2023, with historic ratings in Turkey and a global audience that followed it episode by episode across 3 seasons. Ferit Koşovalı is the heir of one of Istanbul's most powerful families. Seyran is a young woman who agrees to marry him to protect her family. Neither of them wanted that marriage. Neither of them expected what came after. What makes Golden Boy addictive isn't the plot itself, but the characters that surround it. The Koçovalı family is a complete universe. There's dynamism in each of its members, conflicts that intersect and evolve in ways few series manage to sustain across more than 100 episodes. And when Ferit and Seyran finally reach the same emotional place, you feel you earned that moment. The weak point is that with over 100 episodes, there are stretches where the story circles rather than advances. The pacing is uneven between seasons. But Golden Boy is the kind of series that converts people into Turkish drama fans. The second best on this list. Number 1. Eternal Love. The first episode ends with a scene that won't let you close the app. Eternal Love won the International Emmy for Best Telenovela in 2016, was sold to over 70 countries, and became the most watched Turkish series in Netflix history for years. But none of those numbers explain why this 2015 production is still the most beloved in Turkish drama decades later. Only the story explains that. Kemal comes from a humble family. Nihan is the most beautiful woman in Istanbul, engaged to another man. They meet by accident, and what happens between them in that first encounter is something neither of them can explain or ignore. What follows are 2 seasons, 74 episodes, and a love story that has the audacity not to promise you everything will end well, but to promise you it will be true. What makes Eternal Love unique in the Turkish drama landscape is its emotional honesty. There are no cardboard villains or absurd twists for the sake of surprise. There are people who love each other and the world. Their own decisions and circumstances conspire against them in ways that feel completely real. The weak point is that some stretches of the second season test the viewer's patience more than necessary. Not all the runtime is indispensable. But Eternal Love is number 1 on this list because nobody who has watched it has ever forgotten it. The greatest in Turkish drama, without question. And that is everything for today. These 10 series represent the best and most beloved that Turkish drama has given the world, stories that transcend borders, languages, and cultures to touch something genuinely universal. Let me know in the comments which of these series you've already watched, which one is still pending, and whether you agree with the number 1. Give it a like, share the video with someone who loves Turkish drama, and subscribe so you don't miss anything coming up.